All right, game two. Again, we see a fan out versus BDS. They're just like, let's just fan out and react to whatever they do. But again, that only works in some of the iterations, right? The fan out, like they're still moving you. You see how they moved in, and now you've consolidated. You've given up all your extra vision. You've dropped extra wards so that you could create this line here. You used multiple wards. They haven't had to use their wards, and in fact, now they're going to go in and sweep. And this creates, like we said before, and as long as your solo laners are taking part in that ward kill, they will get experience that will get them to level 2 and to level 5 a wave faster. Okay, it won't affect your level 6. You get, if you don't miss anything for the entire game, you will get level 6 off of that 5-minute wave. But now this gives you that extra little window where you can miss a ranged caster. You can still go in and get all of that for themselves. And largely in these pro metas, right, you see teleport, 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 teleport. This is so that they can ensure that they never get 6 gapped, right? The 6 gap is that play. Oh, love this play by Aji. Opting to pull Sheo off the camp, getting one reset, pulling Talia back. Now, Talia can get a little bit low on their first clear and also uses another ward to come up here. Or this time it's Talia using the ward, I should say. But Jax puts a ward out as well. So in inventories, there's only 2 wards left here for PSG. This is potentially exploitable. Early game, you're looking at that 90-second window. If you know that they only have 2 wards left on their timer, as soon as someone comes out here and wards, you're just taking 90 seconds and then you say go, right? That's where you can take advantage of that. Lack of vision. All right, yeah, I know the Talia clear is super exciting, but can we stay on the lanes, please? Ooh, nice play by Aji, getting that jump in. Using Counter-Strike, and like we said, Grasp is the adaptation that we have made here. Now, something that's interesting for this game, Merc Treads has a ton of value. Secondly, we were looking at a significant amount of magic damage here, 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 here. Magic resist is going to be very, very good for BDS this game. Don't expect to necessarily see Hex Drinker here because Steric's Gauge is so nice. But one of the things that we did mention to them in the comments with Abyssal Mask on Renekton, ever since the changes to his ultimate, he gets so much base damage from that just shredding resistances is actually the best source of continued damage for him in those situations. We'll see if he goes it. He did not do it in his last series when playing Renekton. The other thing that we saw from Adam is that he was putting 5 points into Q in situations where you just need to start stacking the W. Forever, the build on Renekton was 5 in Q, right? So you do something like, you go something like E for wave control, W so you have some amount of fighting, do something like Q, 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 and then you prioritize Q, and then you maximize E, and then you go W last. All right, but something else that you can do is actually walk up. Now with the Fury, you can just walk up into some of these matchups, just throw your Q and continue auto-attacking. You're stacking Conqueror versus them having Grasp, and then your second Q will be Fury empowered, and you'll be able to actually get a significant value on your trade-off, especially if you have that. But so much of the power has come out after this point, all right, especially now with Gore Drinker. Gore Drinker plus these 3 Qs means that you don't need to have a 4th or 5th point, all right, to clear the wave. So that's the adaptation that we'd like to see them, is that starting at level 7, you start maxing W, you put points in every level, 7, 8, 9, 10, so that it's maximized by 11 when you're truly your strongest in the game. That's where you go for them. Now BDS, ooh, nice little pop there, blocking the engage. We end up stopping and knocking up Junja on this potential try for an engage, and they've got Kalista in this advantage, so they absolutely win these fights with Kalista, especially into Kaisa. This is extremely favored for them, but I don't think he has enough for another rend. Maybe he just has enough for another rend, but they actually get the trade kill. How did he allow himself to die there? That was not necessary at all. I see Jax. Look at this. We talked about how Renekton looked Adam looked uncomfortable on Renekton. Looks like he's giving up these windows to the Jax, and this would be what I would coach enemy teams if I'm playing against BDS, is exactly this. hey, this guy's not that comfortable on this. I expect him to only perform at a challenger level, not at a world elite level on this champion. So beat them the same way that you'd beat solo queue top laners, right? Go after them, put them to the test, see if they know exactly the cooldown, see if they know exactly all the limits. Is this something that they recently picked up? Do they know exactly where the windows are and for how long you can get them? Instead, Aji is just completely taking over this game from topside, getting the Talia flash second time into their jungle, using Prio from top to get into here, and still winning in CS, dominating the Renekton and the Talia. This guy is taking over this game. Okay, we see the engage. Poppy not trying to knock them into the rel. They're able to get that kill quickly, and they get the 5 stacks onto Labrov. Means that PSG gets a huge win for themselves here as well. Where is the advantage going to come from BDS now? Ballista needs to get ahead. Renekton needs to get ahead. These two are going to be fine scaling, but it's double AP in the mid lane, which means you have Akali with Merc Treads. If we lose this game, that might be the last Akali we see for a while. But Akali's going to be fine into Syndra, into all control mages, basically level 6. She's going to look for that all-in. And specifically Merc Treads, we've talked about how good it is against Syndra. We just take less damage, you dodge more spells. It is the singular best item in the game against Syndra when you're laning against her. It also stops some of the combos. So not only is it harder to hit, but you also take less damage, and then you get out of the stun faster so she can't deal the rest of the damage and get the second rotation of spells off. Oh, Q flash into rampaging forward. Poppy repositioning with the E to knock them into the knockup is so nice. Beautifully done. Sheo, like, what are you trying to accomplish here? Yet again, going to a pit that's not yours. This is what Golden Guardians did to them, and apparently they haven't figured out that you can't be doing it to other people as well. Showing up when you don't have prio, when you're weaker, like, what's the point? Just go somewhere else and get something. Make them spend their time and be proactive. Did he just flash over, or was that a miss? Okay, it looked like he flashed over the Scatter of the Weak, which means this guy is playing cracked out of his mind. The fact that he doesn't get the play, though, does mean that Adam gets this. He is able to have some reprieve for himself. Now, that said, despite the lead that Jax has been building for himself in this lane, make no question about it, when Renekton is 6, this is a favored fight for them, because during the duration of Counter-Strike, you just turn on your ultimate and you wait it out and you say, okay, all right, let's say I'm still dealing you damage and I'm building Fury. I can also get an empowered Q off, and that's fine. Or I can just let myself get to 100 Fury. Your stun goes off, that's okay. Double dash, get onto you, empowered W, empowered Q, and get the winning trade-off in those situations. That's why Aji's playing with respect, despite having built themselves a lead here. Now, Adam in a really awkward spot where was forced back. Normally, you want to make every effort possible into getting Iron Spike Whip, because it allows you for animation cancels, all right? Your whip can be canceled with your Q. Your W can be canceled with the whip. Your W can be canceled with your R. So you can actually go multiple different combinations here. Most common is going to be E to dash forward. Then you use your stun, and then you turn on. Let's take a look at the fight. Proactive plays by PSG. Good rotation on the Rakan. They get the good timers. So these are the different animation cancels that you have on Renekton that basically let you to get more effects in without locking yourself into animation. So if you're below probably Emerald, you may not know about these, maybe even below Gold. But these effects, maximizing this time so that you don't lose those like quarter-second windows where you're locked into animations, is really, really important on a champion that needs those windows to get every little effect. Otherwise, people are going to just walk away from you. And something that you might expect from a player that's not on their marquee champions, they might not have all of these down pat, right? Where it's just rehearsed to the point where they don't even need to think about it. We see that there's no Iron Spike Whip here. means that you don't have access to those animation cancels. Not only that, but that's something that you don't have access to in your trade with Jax, where you're getting an activation off in the face of Counter-Strike, for example, or just the fact that you're canceling your animations period to get more effects off to boot. So anyways, early lead to PSG. This is the part of the game where we're going to see Akali do fantastic things into Syndra. And we saw it right there. Merktreads makes her untouchable. She has enough damage even though she's only here. And with Fleet Footwork. Now, we did talk about something that is playable. Akali is probably the last champion that can still play Static Shiv. The scaling is just so bad now that it's probably never going to happen. Back when it was 50%, it was just a better Lichbane. Now on this patch, I believe on this patch it's on 20, maybe even 10%. So it's a very low number. It's still probably not going to get seen. But if you want a fun little different build that you can use for yourself, that's absolutely one you can go for. Holly getting one kill here, then they get a one for Nuke, and then they're going to come back and kill him again later anyways. One of the things you should do, by the way, you see how Rel can jump this wall. That's one of the fatter walls that Rel can get around. It is important to know which walls you can and can't get on the map. So go into Practice Tool when you play Rel. Just go in, turn off the cooldowns and the mana, and just see like which ones you can even make it over this wall. Right? So some of the fattest walls in the game you can still jump over as Rel. It's actually pretty remarkable. See, it looks like she just doesn't even go. Yeah, it's not even an ultimate here. This is just with base abilities, not even needing an ultimate. Getting the hit confirm on E1. Aji looking for a big flank, but he's hiding behind enemy lines here. Poppy's going to split. No, he does not split the team, which means Aji has to survive this. Let's see how they end up playing this fight. They're actually strong enough here, but it is versus Renekton, so they have to back up. They're going to have to just let Poppy die. And in turn, they're going to give up top. But this means that we're going to give up plates here and solo plates to Kai'Sa. Both these champions are capable of taking these. I don't like what Akali's doing. Why is she backing off? It looks like she's trying to... Oh, interesting. All right, they say we're strong enough now. Enough people have backed away. Jax is so strong that we're actually just going to show up at this fight and look for an ultimate. This is something they're absolutely not expecting, was Akali to show up into this fight. Even with the wards here, it's tough to see that as the fight's happening. Kai'Sa getting 2 plates for herself. Akali going and killing the Kalista means that ends up being a tremendous play for PSG. Oh, she flashes to dodge the Counter-Strike. That would have been completely one-sided. This right here, blessing in disguise. I mean, you would have liked to just peel Renekton and then just walk out this way. Even though you whiffed, you still should have come this way. You didn't actually need to come back into reinforcements. But the fact that Poppy dies and they get for this turret means that blue team is feeling comfortable enough to move forward. Look at that difference in damage. 1 Q and 1 W. Jax is just obliterating this game. There's no great answer here. Unless he's being that's an answer. If he walks up when he's out of mana, that's what it takes to get a kill onto Aji this game. Rel with her ridiculous base stats able to take down the monster camps. What is that, like 260% amplified damage to monsters? Yeah, Jax should be the alpha. I mean, here's the thing. Here's the pick order. It's Rumble, Jax, then Cassante, and then you take Renekton as like an acceptable answer to any of these, and good against the field to be blind pick. But this is the order that the prio is gonna happen all tournament, because Rumble's just fine into all of them, right? And then Rumble's much stronger into the team. His spike on Night Harvester Demonic Embrace is just too great to ignore, and that tends to be the trickle of the meta for a top lane. Pick a Riot Games approved melee carry. Yeah, Riot please. Hashtag Riot please. Put it in the YouTube. Timestamp the video. I am so disappointed. It's something I suspected and I wished weren't true, and now that we know it's true, it's disappointing. Like, yeah, I get it. You want certain champions, they're the most exciting for Worlds, but you know what's also exciting is innovation and people doing different things and actually having to think for the game. Rather than just like, we're going to make the game so it's 70% engage support. We want 30% carries from the jungler. We want 100% melees in top. You know, just like very scripted. We want Kaisa, Draven, Callista, Xayah, Zeri. Boom. That's our list. That's the champions you get to pick at Worlds, period. Although, still, the elephant in the room, why people haven't picked this champion is beyond me. Once the item overhaul happens, there's some design space to rebalance and return some top lane champs. Yeah, it's true, but like we heard from Freak, it's scripted. They like have target numbers. They want to have a certain amount of Rakan. They want to have a certain amount of Nautilus Leona. Like they very much are targeting numbers, and that's bullshit, in my opinion. It really is. All right, now coming out of the game, if there's a weakness to this team, it's the fact that it's 4 melees, all right? So 4 melees into Renekton and into Nautilus means that you're going to have a lot of opportunity to control space. Not just that, but the wall from Talia means that there is some amount of windows to play for. Not only that, but Callista's very, very strong against melee champions. So accepting the Poppy, you're going to be able to jump up against everybody else. We'll see if they end up trying to find those windows for themselves. Or whether or not this just becomes a bleed out coming from here. The fact that everyone is so strong, right? A 3k gold lead, completed Divine Sunder. We've got other components coming out. We're not really showing itself in the items. Renekton did just fine farming for themselves, but we saw that Aji is playing this to a whole nother level. I wouldn't be surprised if they banned Jax for the rest of the tournament against PSG, but definitely for the rest of this series. I'm actually going to tune in for the draft phase next time because I want to see the iterations. Again, we'd like to see... Oh, we never checked up on Darius. Never checked up on Darius. So it's not Darius, Renekton. Once Renekton scrolls in, we're going to see right now, it is level 11. We'll see if he has 5 points in his queue or something else. And here's the Nautilus build that I talked about. Always 1 point in E because that's what allows for good last hitting under turret. I'm going to be keeping an eye on down here, looking for this Renekton build. See whether or not we've had the adaptation. Also, whether or not we're going to get that Abyssal Mask, right? Your team has exceptional synergy with it, and it is very, very good against this team that is almost entirely magic damage based. Sheo just getting punished once again. Ends up getting free just barely. Oh, I love this play. Wow. Playing it to the edge right there. I love that. So putting out the W for Akali means that you can shriek and flip forward and it will attach to the shadow. He uses that to get into position to go for an RQ auto. It looked like he missed one of those though. Didn't get everything off. Also, it's a little bit dangerous to go in versus Talia. Luckily for whoever's dashing is you don't get stopped mid-track. So however far away your shadow was, that's how far you'll go. Even if Talia puts the rock field down, you will make it all the way back to that. But she ends up having to use R2 to get out the rest of the way. But that was an exciting play. Interesting to see here. We have Morella Nomicon, not the most common. It's going after Adam's healing and it's going after Callista's healing, which makes sense. These are probably the targets you're going after, but you're designed to beat these two champions more than anything. I mean, Callista too. Let's be honest. The amount of speed. Aji jumping in the fight gets both flashes. Maple is repositioning, is able to get the Callista kill, which means that Lebrav is dead in the water as well. Jax taking down the other half of the fight means that they are taking this fight to them, and this is basically GG. Just so strong here. Sheo actually just might as well take a camp while I'm running away here. Has the Talia passive. The singular thing that makes Talia a jungler, by the way. Clear, fine, like, you know, all the spells, great, it's good, but the fact that you get this extra movement speed around the walls is what truly changes everything. They leave Kaisa to solo down the dragon. And we stop the backs. This is going to syncopate Adam's back. Making sure that he doesn't have a shop. Now, not that I think he has particularly much to do it. He's already between turrets, and there's nothing you're really getting for this. You're just stopping the back, which stops the preparation for the bear. Let's take a look at this fight. Poppy to knock up Nautilus while the flank is coming in, right? Perfectly timed together. You separate the team, you wedge, right? This is called the wedge, where you get right into the middle of the team. You saw 3 different lines of BDS players and no control ward in here, right? So if that's happening, as your team gets separated, it is vital to get a control ward into the map. But let's see, Maple inting a little bit. Limit testing. I guarantee you he's already tested all the limits on this, realizes that there's not that much more to go for. It does mean that Teleport and R are not available here for Akali. Talia's is the last ult to come back up, but everyone else, at that moment, they'll have more ultimates available than PSG. So maybe if you're BDS, you can find that window to get something for yourself, but fairly unlikely, especially since your AD carry has Umbral Glaive. They're going to be able to win the Vision War here. You're going to see them hold this line of beach wards and then go for the deep ward. And you see this right here. This is Jax's best friend tucked into the wolf pit where it won't ever be seen by a sweeper. You put it all the way back here so that Jax always has an avenue to come in. Not just that, but they won't see it, right? If for those of you who don't know, if you teleport to a control ward, you will be notified on the map. You'll be able to see it. If you're going to a structure or a minion or a normal ward, a vision ward, you can go to these. It will not notify you unless their camera is already panned on it, and then they'll see that cyclone effect for it. But now, as we take stock of the situation, we've got 2.5 items for the Jax versus 1.5. We've got 1.5 here from Poppy. To it in a second. This is looking more drastic than last game. There's no window here for them to get anything back. This is their one spot where maybe they have a little bit going for them with the void here. They might have, but this is insignificant total amounts of damage. 2 items here, great, but we're dealing with 2 items and stopwatch. 2 items looks great, but again, 2 items and some. So the advantages are across the board for PSG. They've got at least half an item on all their carries. So they're going to be very happy about forcing a fight at the pit here. Now they do have information about Jax here. Could they bait stepping up and then actually come back as they try to drop the hammer to the anvil? Maple, with a very good use of his stopwatch, chunk damage into 0 damage return, means that there's a huge boost here. Gets crowd controlled, but it's while he's in the shadows, which means that they are not able to get enough for themselves. Wonderful Akali game. This is Maple. You know, Maple's been around for, I think, 9 years. Playing in the pro scene, has bounced around Taiwan, played in China, gone back to Taiwan, and I believe this is their 9th international event. But, you know, having a tremendous career for themselves. Poppy was not able to get anyone separated, and maybe BDS thought that they had a window. I really like what they tried to do here, but this is the benefit of that stopwatch. You see what she did. Come in, deal a chunk, stopwatch. I want 0 damage back on me. It's not about staying alive at the littlest health. I want to be as full health as possible while my team consolidates for the play. And now we're looking at 10k 3 dragons. This game is over. We're just going to see what their endgame technique is like. 3 dragons. Next one is Infernal. We should expect a little bit of a mid lane push. Actually looks like they are not checking all the boxes right now. You'd like to get Prio here, then move into the river. You already have this wave creating vision for you, and then you can come up and create this deep line of wards, however you decide, whatever shape you end up taking. And this is a foul. Lebrov, you're not allowed to go here. Ay, Kaisa W from long range. When you're defending, when you see whichever quadrant they're going to, this is the line you get, and then you try to create power on this side of the map. You say, I want to create a slow push, go up here, a potential threat for if we can somehow manage to trade 1 for 1 or 2 for 2, we can teleport into this top wave and go up. Or if we're lucky, we can actually stay up there for longer. And you just keep this shallow vision line just to measure the rotations. You cannot try to go this deep. It is too far. There's too many angles that people can wrap behind you to get there. So a foul by Lebrov, penalty issued by PSG, and they just look so much better. I'm gonna take a moment to find Renekton, some clip where they have his levels. Now it might be less apparent. It should still be apparent because there should only still be 3 points in the queue. But if they ever show us Renekton stats, I want to know what he has leveled. Dejected look on Nuke's face. So now 2 inhibs down. They're probably going to put Jax into mid lane and 4 into top after they secure this dragon for themselves. Kali and Jax both have their teleports available, and they have full vision control of the southern quadrant, which means that they can go ahead and take this at will and walk it in. They won't have the Baron for the remainder of the push, but they don't need it. They're going to take this buff, ideally, slowly. You don't want to take this buff before the rest of your team is in position, because if you take it and then you're like all still like, hey, I'm a little bit far away from my items, and you end up losing some of your inhibitor downtime on the fact that Elder might come back up, but that's a min-max. That's something that only matters at the highest level of play, where they are synchronized to that level. That is an optimization that is available to them, though. Saying like, hey, I mean, you see it when they stagger someone's death, right? When they're like, all right, we have a winning position and we could kill this guy, but the longer we wait, the better it is. And so it is now that person's prerogative to int. Like, if you're being trapped and they are keeping you alive on purpose, they're keeping you hostage, you should int to make sure that you're dying faster. In this case, everyone's ready. They've already got the waves in position and they go up. So everything, all the boxes are being checked here by PSG. Love this control ward. This is the one you should always place down in defense of your base into these adjacent lanes. It keeps them from putting any wards in your face here. You see Jax escorting the super in through bot lane. He's going to come up and look for the flank. Rel is protecting the Akali. There is no approach. If there's one angle you could take, it would be everyone to just dive bomb onto Wako here on Kai'Sa. The problem is Kai'Sa can reposition so easily. So you might put everyone, including a Talia wall, in between these people and then say, hey, let's look for this fight. I wish they had tried, but, you know, bleeding out is another way to go. Poppy puts them all the way back in base. They get their engage. Not that they really needed this, but this will spell doom. Super's crashing in. They're going to come in with all this damage. You even have a stopwatch and a Sterix gauge available to the Jax. Wako, again, like frame perfect. This guy is playing so well. All right, let me try to find a Renekton clip. I just want to see where his level points are. Oh, here it is. 5. This needs to change. This is giving up too much, okay? You need to have points in your W. Ever since, I think it was 13-12, since 13-12, Renekton's power is in his W. That's why they felt good about giving him some power back there. And that's why Licorice said Renekton scales, by the way. It's because points actually work in his W, but you need to put the points into the W. It is such a strong spell. You are missing out by not putting the points here. Either they didn't get the message or they chose to ignore it, but either way, we tried.